What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. And this was one that's, I don't know, it was kind of a surprise in a sense. It wasn't something I expected to get, but I tossed it in with my Black Friday order, Vinegar Syndrome, um, just because, well, they sold me on it, as they usually do. That is, of course, from 1985, Blood Tracks. Now, what did I know about Blood Tracks before seeing or picking this up? Nothing. Never even heard of it, which is usually the case when it comes to a lot of Vinegar Syndrome's obscure stuff. um, but the fact that it was a 80s slasher film, one that honestly, obviously has been, I don't know if it's lost. I'm sure it's probably somewhere. Someone probably knew of it, but I didn't. And, that to me was enough to pique my interest because one thing I really like that Vinegar Syndrome does is put out these obscure 80s slasher films. And I love picking them up whenever I can, just to, see something out of the norm that you are familiar with when it comes to the 80s slasher films. Um, Especially considering that was such a big thing in the early to mid 80s, to find these, sometimes bad, sometimes hidden gems. Um, and this just, the description of it, the little trailer they showed of it, uh, it really piqued my curiosity. So, what is Blood Tracks? Well, Blood Tracks is what is Blood Tracks? Actually, as I watched the film, I found myself comparing it, of all things, to The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. Not The Hills Have Eyes, but The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, minus the, dog flashbacks. Um, and why I say that is because of, well, Hills Have Eyes Part 2, you basically have a, what are they, like a biker or a motocross team or something like that going out and, trying to get to a competition, whatever was the case. I don't remember too much. But they end up going like this little mining facility, old abandoned mine shaft area, whatever, where they get trapped out in the desert. And of course, they come across the Campbell family, the remnants of the Campbell family from the first Hills Have Eyes. What you got in Blood Tracks is a rock and roll band coming out to, I guess it's Colorado, to film a music video, and they come across an abandoned factory where there's a mutated family there. So those similarities cross my mind. Not saying that they were intentional, because I think these actually came out very close to one another, 85, because I believe Hills Have Eyes Part 2 came out around that time after Wes had done the original Nightmare. But that's neither here nor there. But those similarities struck me. So, Blood Track starts out with a family, a mother, and I think four or five little boys, who are tormented by an abusive alcoholic father. Apparently, he's come home, he's drunk, he's abusive. The mother ends up killing the father, and then the family all have to run and disappear. And that's your whole opening film. And 40 years later, it's 1985. Here we are. It's such a weird, I don't want to say the weird way to start the film, but that's how it starts. But it's weird to me because I'm thinking, why did the family run away? She clearly killed this guy in self-defense, and he was a total jerk. I think she'd have been okay. But nonetheless, they run off and hide in the Colorado mountains, snowy mountains or something or other. It's not really explained well. So the rock and roll group Solid Gold, played by, oh god, what was it? Played by a real Swedish band named, give me a second, let me find it here. Oh my gosh, Easy Action. They are a real rock and roll Swedish band at the time. They're coming in, they're playing this band called Solid Gold, which is weird because they're playing themselves essentially, just changing their band name. They might as well have kept the Easy Action because it was a better name than Solid Gold. And I hear Solid Gold, I'm thinking they're doing, it's the 80s, are doing the Solid Gold TV show. But anyways, they're coming here to film this rock video, and of course they have all their groupies, their backup dancers are all scantily clad. You've got your manager who just basically, you're going to film this thing no matter the cost, get whatever. You're in a very dangerous mountainside. You have a cabin here to live in, but there's worries of avalanches. You got the guide who's the expert who's telling them watch out for the avalanche, blah, 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 blah. One thing leads to another. The crew ends up, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? They invade, this abandoned factory because it looks like a great place to shoot. Of course, this abandoned factory is holding this family. It's been here for the last 40 years. And the oldest son is all grown. He's kind of like the leader of the group. The mother is kind of out of it. And then there's I think the other three boys are all mutated. But I don't know why. That's never explained. They have all these, mutant. And it's only the young boys. Like I said, the mother and the oldest son are fine, but the other boys are just all pock-faced or whatever. And again, it's not explained. Actually, it wasn't really explained until I until I watched one of the special features, the interview with one of the main actors of the film, who kind of explained what it's supposed to be. Anyway, so yeah, they end up taking out these film crew and band members one by one in some pretty interesting ways. A lot of gore, a lot of TNA. Now I get when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks really ridiculous and cheesy, but I'm definitely gonna check it out and like it, or hope I like it. And you know what I actually did? It was a lot of fun. It's not great. it's typical slasher, but there's some great visual effects as far as some of the gore. The acting is what it is. What I understand, you have American actors and British actors. Most of them who are living in Britain, but they're all They filmed this up by the Arctic Circle. At least this part's where they're supposed to be in Colorado. I think it was Colorado, but they're filming up in the Arctic Circle. So you got all this great scenery, and then the abandoned, condemned factory, which was really a condemned factory they filmed at. They probably shouldn't have been, but they did because authenticity. Was filmed in a different part of Sweden. But this is a Swedish director who's going under a pseudonym. I can't remember what his name was. Mats Helge Olsen, and he was going under the name Mike Jackson, I believe what he's credited as. And also another was kind of co-directed by Derek Ford, who was considered like a Swedish exploiter, or into sexploitation films. He's also known for Don't Open Till Christmas as the one he's known for. But so there's some bad dubbing, because and what I found out is that the director just hired random people for the crew. Some people who were in jail with him for attacks of it. You have to watch the special features. But the person was holding a fishing pole on a thin line with a very, very tiny microphone. That's where they're getting their sound from, and apparently that's how they had to they had to go back and do a lot of redubbing. A lot of interesting stories behind the scenes, but it's actually a fairly entertaining movie for a low level slasher film. I wasn't bored. I was into it. I was enjoying it. Obviously, the sexy girls would help. There's some attempt at comedy or humor, I should say. I don't really comedy, but some humor. Like I said, the kills are pretty inventive. But it was a fun watch. I enjoyed it much more than I thought it would be. I thought I would. like I said, this definitely has a Hills Have Eyes vibe to it with his family and everything. They're not cannibals, I don't think, but they're very feral. They're wild. I said, especially the younger brothers who are all mutated for whatever reason. To that point, in the one of the special features with the main actor of the film, he basically apparently this was supposed to represent that they had a severe frostbite because they've been out in this cold for all these years or whatever, but that's never explained. They're just, first I thought it was some kind of like radiation from the factory. Maybe that was mutating, but only them. I don't know why. And even then, if it is the frostbite, why is only them? Oldest brother and mother are perfectly fine. But again, just little stuff that isn't really explained. But that's, I'm not going to get too much more into it plot wise, but just to tell you that it was fun. It was enjoyable. I had a good time with it. Is it the best? No, it's definitely a very low tier slasher film. But it was nice. It's shot in a widescreen, so you've got a nice scope, especially with the snow. The Arctic Turkey, you have that nice scenery. A lot of snowy mountains and everything. It looks really good. There's a great scene where their band is shooting the video, recording it, and they're doing this whole playback to the audio and recording, which you've seen all the dancers, backup singers, and these poor women are freezing to death because they have hardly any clothes on out in the snow. It looks crazy. To the point where I thought it was very, very comical. There's a scene where, one of the dancers wants to have sex with one of the band members. So they go outside to a car in the snow, and then an avalanche hits, and they're buried. And of course, they have to dig her out. They're digging out. She's completely naked, pulling her out of the car. I don't know why. I just found that humorous. Like I said, the picture was good. I think it was a nice image. It's a 4K restoration from, I think it said the inner positive or inner negative. So it looks good. There's a couple of effects, and certainly where the image will kind of soften and lighten up a bit, but it's only a few bits here. The biggest issue, and I kind of heard hints of this online. I didn't really see like a definitive source. Anybody kind of hear people talking about it or referencing it. But there is an issue with the audio. It is a 2.0 stereo audio track, which typically, and again, I don't know how this comes across like on a sound bar or regular speakers, but with separated speakers, typically, again, you're going to get most of your sound in the 2.0, except your most of your left, right. Sometimes if it's a stereo, you may get some, just one sound through your rear channels. But the problem is that the sound, it fades between channels. So it's like, you're talking, all your sounds here, all of a sudden it kind of just cuts and fades to this channel, and it cuts back to this channel, and it's back to the middle. And it kind of does that periodically throughout the film. So I'm not sure it's a bad audio. Well, it's obviously a bad audio mix, or if it's a problem with. I don't think it's a problem with the Blu-ray. I really think it's a problem with the audio mix itself, and how they did it. It's a little jarring at first, but honestly, it's the more you watch it, you kind of just get used to it, for lack of a better term. It didn't really bother me too much, but it was noticeable, especially at the beginning when you're playing the actual, hard rock music, the Blood Tracks theme. You kind of hear that, it's kind of loud, fake cut, again, jumping between the speakers. And again, I don't know how that actually works on a sound bar, but again, I know the sound bars tend to have separate speakers. It may have that same effect. I don't know. But it was something that was noticeable. But again, it wasn't too bad. I think you can get used to it, but it just depends on your preference. But other than that, I thought it looked really good. It was fun, and I had no other issues. And the thing does have a lot of great special features to it. But let's take a look at the Blu-ray. So here's the slipcover here, which is nice. Love that back art. And this is actually a really nice poster. I like that. And let's see. Yeah, the reverse image is the slipcover image. And here's your back. Let's take a look at these features here. We've got Newly scanned and restored in 4K from his 35mm inner negative. You have a commentary track with author and film historian Amanda Reyes, film historian Richard Granfers, and extra producer Ewan Kent. I have not listened to the audio commentary on this. I think I've watched everything else on it for the most part. Playing a straight interview with actor Jeff Harding, who's the one I talked about that had a lot of the stories about the director and some of the cast and everything. That's actually only about 15 minutes, I think, but it's a really 16 minutes. It's actually a really informative and fun interview. Let's see. I'm with the band, an interview with actress Naomi Kaneda, which goes about 20 minutes, which is pretty good. Let's see. Bang for Your Buck at 21 minutes. Interview with actress Harriet Robinson. That's, again, they're pretty informative. They're not. I think the most interesting interview, honestly, is that 15-minute one at the beginning. Other two are, good for talking about the ladies, the actors, and their careers and some bits in the movie, but they're okay. This is going too far. 21 minutes. Interview with actor Fredrik Offrein. Offrein, that's Swedish, I couldn't pronounce it. And that goes, I said 21 minutes. This is because his character in the film was very, very small. But apparently he was a big guy in creating a Swedish, club or something, for celebrities, and then a magazine, and he was kind of a go-to guy. And he's done a couple movies, so it's a little retrospect over his career more than anything else. Because, like I said, his part in this movie is tiny. Audio interview with actress Tina Shaw, which is 28 minutes, 26 minutes. Small print, can't read. And then it's just audio. It's just a picture of her. You just listen to it. It's current interview with someone from Vinegar Syndrome, and it's again interesting. Nothing earth shattering. Then you have archival featurette with Easy Action band members, Peo Famer, I cannot pronounce his Swedish names, and Bo Snagman, aka Zinny Zen, which is 27 minutes. I watched the beginning of this, but I didn't finish it. It's an archival interview. It is in Swedish with subtitles. The first part I said, you show these guys sitting at a restaurant, ordering food and starting to have a conversation. And I just kind of zoned out at that point, honestly. I probably should go back and watch it, but I just didn't. And then you have the video trailer, still galleries, and so on and so forth. So I said there's a lot of good stuff on here, and this is actually a nice little, maybe C-grade slasher film. It's not one of the best. It's definitely not one of the worst. It's entertaining. It's a fun watch. I think, I'd recommend checking it out. You may enjoy it. So that is it for now. If you enjoyed it, just click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've picked up Blood Tracks, you've seen Blood Tracks, you've even heard of Blood Tracks, or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.